Hi, welcome to For Real. My name's Claire, and my husband Jeremy and I live in Siem Reap, Cambodia. We've lived in Cambodia for about 4 years now, and about 3 of those 4 years have been in Siem Reap. So we've made the journey from Siem Reap, Cambodia to Bangkok, Thailand many times, as you might expect, and over those years, and we've used a number of different modes of transport to make that journey. And today's video is a bit of a comparison between all of the different methods that you can use to travel between the two places, what the costs are, how long it takes to do each one, and what the pros and cons might be for each of those options as well. So the first option I'm going to talk to you about today is the one that's probably most obvious, and that's flying. Now, the cheapest flights that we were able to find in researching for this video were the AirAsia flights. And as you know, AirAsia is a low-cost carrier, and that means that it doesn't include luggage unless you pay extra. So the base fare was $86, and the luggage was about $20 on top of that. Bear in mind that you'll also need to factor in transfers to the airport and from the airport at the other end. So all up, it's going to cost you about $126 for that journey. It is the fastest of the 4 options, although it's not as much faster than land travel than you might think. So it takes 1 hour to get from Siem Reap town to the new airport in Siem Reap. Because it's an international flight, you'll need to get there about 3 hours before as well. So that's 4 hours. The flight itself takes about 1 hour, so that's 5 hours, and then the transfer at the other end from the airport to your hotel, let's say another hour, because you're probably not going to be staying close to the airport. So all up, you're looking at about 6 hours. So the next one we're going to talk about is a big bus service that takes you from Siem Reap all the way to Bangkok. So it's the same bus, but you do have to get off at the border, walk through with your hand luggage, through immigration on both sides, and then back into the same bus again afterwards. So usually they take care of your big luggage if you have a suitcase or something like that, but you'll be responsible for taking your hand luggage through yourself. There are 2 options at least that offer this service. I'll just talk about the 2 that are kind of most commonly used. The first is Virak Buntam. Their service costs $27. And I've heard that that's quite a good service. Haven't taken that one myself, but there's also the Giant Ibis option. That's the one that we have taken. It's a bit more expensive at $43. But when you go onto their website, you'll see that they have a whole page dedicated to the procedure that happens when you take this bus through the international border. So it tells you how long the different things are going to take, how many times it stops, what's your responsibility, what's the responsibility of the bus company. All of that stuff is stepped out very nicely for you. They are expert about what you need to do at the border to make it a smooth crossing. So if you're nervous and you haven't done it before, then I would say go with Giant Ibis, because they're going to be very good at shepherding you through that process. So $27 or $43, and it takes about 8.5 hours. Now, one thing I will say about crossing the border by land, it very much depends on how many people are there in the queue on the Thai side before you get there. This is particularly if you're going from Cambodia into Thailand. That border crossing there, the immigration going into Thailand, can be very busy. And it's kind of funny because you have to go up a set of stairs or escalator, and then there's a door, but you can't see through the door. So it's always like you go to open it and you never know whether there's going to be 2 people in there or 100 people in there. And that's the difference between spending 5 minutes in that horrible room or over an hour, as we have done as well. So it's a bit of a gamble there. If you arrive at the border just behind a bus, then it's really not good, because all of those people are in the queue before you and you have to just wait. All right. So let's look at the next option, which is the cheapest of the 4 options. It is Minivan and Train. So you get the minivan from Siem Reap town to the border at Phuket, and then you get the train from the other side, the Thai side, down from there to Bangkok. Now, this is a very cost-effective option, and the way that you do it is to book a van seat online. So we either use Cambo Ticket, Book Me Bus, or Redbus. And these are conglomerate kind of sites, and they have all the different bus companies represented. It's like the Webjet version of buses for Cambodia. So go there, you can see all the different times that are available, different size buses, different costs, whatever. Choose the bus that you want, pick the seat, off you go. So that's going to cost you a minimum of about $12. It's going to take you about 3 hours to get from Siem Reap to the border. You're going to spend, let's say, an hour at the border, then you're going to cross. And on the Thai side, you're going to make your way to the train station, which is right there. It's like literally about 200 meters away, a very, very short walk, very, very manageable. Even if you've got luggage, it's fine. The train only goes twice a day, and the second one leaves at it's either 1:30 or 2 o'clock, something like that. And it will cost you $1.41, that is 49 baht, to get from there into Bangkok. So that's why the total cost for this option is less than $14. It's actually $13.41. So amazing value. And if you're a single traveler and you are on a tight budget, it's absolutely the way to get to Bangkok. All right, let's talk about the fourth option, because this is the one that Jeremy and I took most recently, and that is to get a private taxi to take you from door to door. So to pick you up in Siem Reap, take you to the border. You still have to cross the border by yourself, and then there'll be a different car waiting on the other side, and that car will take you on from the border down to Bangkok. Now that option for the whole car, now this is where it comes into its own, because you're talking about the cost of the whole car and all 3 or 4 seats that are in it is $120. So once you add a third person, and we went with our friend Ange, it means that it's only $40 each for that door-to-door service, which is, I think, really, really good value. If you've got more than 3 people or 4 people, you can get an SUV. The cost of that does increase a little bit, but once you divide it by the number of passengers that you have, it's still very good value. So that's what we did most recently and really enjoyed it. It takes about 8 hours, so 2.5, 3 hours to get to the border, 1 hour to cross, let's say, because we don't know how many people are going to be there, and then another 4 hours on the Thai side down to Bangkok. So I'd say a maximum of 8 hours for that trip. When we went most recently, we left at 5 in the morning and we arrived at the border just behind a bus. So in hindsight, and if I ever did it again, I would go at 4 in the morning instead. It's really worth that little bit of, unpleasantness of having to get up really early to have a nice, quick experience at the border. Once you've been in that room for a couple of hours, you will know that it's really very much well worth doing everything you can to minimize your time there. So the company that we used is called Taxi for You, and they actually service a lot of the Southeast Asian countries. You'll see their advertising is these brightly coloured tiles. They have a bit of a colour scheme going where it's a different colour for each country. They advertise the main routes that people tend to take within those countries and the cross-border routes as well. But they will service you wherever you need to go. So just send them a message on Telegram and they'll get back to you with a price. And you don't pay a deposit or anything like that. So I was, slightly concerned that perhaps the car wouldn't turn up at 5 in the morning, but no, it was there. Everything was fine. What a beautiful morning it is. Jeremy and I are traveling from Hua Hin back to Siem Reap today. We're taking a private taxi and we anticipate it's going to take between 9 and 10 hours, possibly more actually. We left at 6:46 this morning, and I'm going to check in with you along the way so that we can see how long it's taking, how often we stop, and various things like that. But so far so good. We've been on the road about an hour now, and that was the first toilet stop of the trip. Much needed as well. All right, let's keep going. All right, we just stopped again for a toilet break and we've just passed Bangkok. So I think we've got about just over 6 hours to go. Time check, it's 10:55 in the morning. Okay, this is toilet stop number 2. Okay, we've arrived
at the Thai side of the border. It's called Ban Klong Luk, I think. Poi Phet on the other side, but Ban Klong Luk on this side. So we'll cross over, find some food, and then complete the last 3 hours of the journey towards Siem Reap. Very smooth so far. I slept a little bit in the car, which was good. Okay, let's get business taken care of, and we'll see you on the other side. We were straight through on the Thai side. There was nobody waiting, so it took literally less than a minute. We're just approaching the Cambodia side to complete the process, and we'll be on our way. Looking good. Okay, this is the third toilet. We are at the border at Poi Phet, and there's quite a big line on the Cambodian side, so I thought I'd make use of the facilities before lining up. Okay, we're back in Cambodia in Poi Phet. I've notified the taxi company that we are here, and we're just waiting for the driver to come and pick us up from outside the Amazon Cafe. It's quite windy today. Okay, we're in the car. We've left the border at Poi Phet and we're heading towards Siem Reap. It's probably about 2.5 hours from Poi Phet, so I expect us to arrive just after about 5:30 this afternoon, I think. Here's Jeremy. How are you enjoying the trip, Jeremy?
Fantastic.
Yes. All right. We've got room for all our friends in here too. And that's it, we've arrived home. It's taken us nearly 11 hours all up, but surprisingly it wasn't that painful.
So we really rate the service of Taxi for You, and we would definitely be using them again in future. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you some information about the different ways that you can travel. As I would say, the quickest way is not always the best way. The cheapest way or the most expensive way is not always the best way either. It's just the type of experience that you want to have. And for us, we like the freedom of going in the car because we can choose to stop wherever we want. And the fact that it's a door-to-door service, you just can't beat that. In our opinions, that's what really works for us. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Give us a thumbs up and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.